Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about attachment styles. You know, the ones anxious, avoidant, disorganized, secure. And I'm going to say a thing that most people don't say. Welcome to Love and Relationships for the Modern Mystical Life. I'm your host, Juliana Christine. We are in a relationship revolution. The scripts we inherited from our families, culture, and every love story we were ever told aren't working anymore. But the new way hasn't been written yet, and I'm here to write it with you. This podcast goes beneath the surface of all your relationships, past the advice into what's real, the messy, the tender, and the beautiful. Come on in. Your attachment style and your attachment to it is ruining your relationship. And this is important because when we become hyper focused on something that describes an aspect of who we are, we start to use it as an excuse. So naming your attachment style gives relief. I am traditionally anxiously attached. And when I figured out my attachment style years ago, it's like, oh, that makes sense. I get myself more now. But if you stop there, it becomes the reason why you are the way that you are, even if you don't necessarily like it. Like, to be anxiously attached is an awful feeling. I've never liked it. It's so awful. Like spiraling into overthinking and feeling terrified when a phone call ends abruptly and feeling this internal need for reassurance. If I just said, well, that's just my attachment style, I sure would be cutting myself short of depth of understanding myself, transformation, and deepening my relationships. So what are attachment styles? The 4 styles are, we've got secure. And this is the one that everyone says is the best one, right? You feel safe and confident in your relationships. You trust easily. You can communicate. You can regulate your emotions. You're comfortable feeling alone or being alone. And you're comfortable being connected. You can have hard conversations without shutting down or getting overly anxious. Then there's the anxious. There's a deep fear of rejection or abandonment. You seek validation outside of yourself. I'm raising my hand. This is what I used to do. You can look like you're really jealous, or you have a hard time being alone, or you're really sensitive when there's distance in a relationship, and you might go into people pleasing if there's conflict in the relationship. The avoidant style has a fear of intimacy, is often strongly independent, feels crowded when someone gets too close, has a hard time sharing inner thoughts and feelings, and will distance in time of conflict. And then the disorganized is kind of anxious and avoidant, smushed together. They want love and connection, but they're also terrified of it. They go back and forth between clinging to someone and pushing someone away. Do you know yours? I'm definitely more anxious. I can tell you that, or I was traditionally, but I now would say that I lean more towards securely attached, because I chose to be like, oh, now that I know that this is what's going on in my nervous system, I would like to change that for myself. So your attachment style tells you what scares you when you get close to another person. And this fear was set between the ages of 2 to 7, before you were really verbal to communicate what you needed. And then you continue to repeat the pattern since. This is in your nervous system. It's in your default mode network. I go into this in the podcast episode where I talk about why we always talk about the inner child. Okay. And as an adult and as someone who has choice, you can take this information and use it as a map to create connection in your body and stability in your nervous system and safety for yourself. And it takes all of these things: connection in the body, understanding how your nervous system works, opening your throat so you can speak what you really want to speak to someone, soothing yourself when you do feel anxious or you do feel like running away, all through nervous system techniques, nervous system relaxation techniques. These are all the ways that you can use this to actually change your experience in your relationships. So when I found out when I discovered anxious attachment for myself, I got this like flash of when I was in my mid-20s, and I'd be on the phone with my mom and we'd be talking, and then I'd be done. Like the conversation would come to a close, or I'd want to go. And I'd say to my mom, "Okay, mom, I'm going to go now." And she'd say, "Okay." And we'd say bye. And I'd hang up. But then what would happen is I'd get flooded with fear that I'd pissed her off. Nothing happened. Nothing. She'd said, okay. There was no upset. There was no disagreement. There was nothing. But my body was like, it's not safe that I've just chosen to disconnect from my mom. And my nervous system reads that as there's something wrong. There's something wrong. And that probably began when I was 2.5 and my little brother Adrian was born nearly 3 months premature. And my mom suddenly wasn't as around with me. So my nervous system felt the disconnection and it got scared. It's very normal, right? And so what would happen is I would call her back like right away. I go like, "Mom, did I piss you off?" And she'd be like, "No, not at all." And I had to really hear that before I trusted it. It still would send fear running through me because it's the little 2.5-year-old where mom and dad weren't able to be there. Right. And I know every time my mom listens to me say this, "Hi, Mom," she feels so bad. And this is not like, this is just what happens on this planet in these bodies. This is what happens. We all are trying to survive. And sometimes we get dropped, and that's what happens. And so it's like, this is part of the lesson. It's like, we're here to be stronger. We're here to become more courageous. And just like a little seed that is moving up through the soil to come up and grow into a plant, that little seed needs to struggle and bump up against things. And this is what it is for us as people as well. So if you're tired of how your attachment style impacts you, right? Impacts your relationships. You're tired of the discomfort. You're tired of what's going on inside of you, like that anxious feeling or the like, I'm out feeling, or the back and forth between the two. How you change it. So the first one is self-awareness. You know your attachment style. You know that what's happening in your body is reacting to a past event, and it's being brought up again in the present. Right? This isn't you as the adult. This is a younger part of you that needs safety. And so the second step is then to give yourself that safety by tending to your body. Slow down. Take some breaths. Remind your body that you're safe. One of my favorite ways to do this, and this hits the mammalian branch of the nervous system as well as the reptilian branch of the nervous system. You place one hand on your heart, one hand on your forehead. And while your hands are on your heart and your forehead, you close your eyes and you take 5 to 10 breaths. This signals to your body that there is connection and safety. You're using your senses, the breath, the touch, to say, hey, there's nothing dangerous happening here right now. And then you move the hand that's on your forehead and you place it on your belly. And you take 5 to 10 more breaths. This is signaling to your nervous system that it can send blood into your digestive organs. There is no danger. It doesn't have to be pulled away and go into the limbs. I'm doing it right now. And I always feel a little nervous while I'm doing these podcast episodes. And so even just doing this now, I can feel my body relaxing. And then you open your eyes and you slowly look around the room and you look at things. You turn your head and you look at things like I can see my Delft Blau pen holder. I can see my fairy oracle cards. I can see my spider plant with all of its little babies popping off of it. I can see my tomato plant out the window. And when you do this, you show the nervous system through your vision, through your sight, one of your senses, there's no danger. If I'm looking at all of these things, there's no danger. Now, what might happen is your mind might resist this, because it wants the fix to be complicated, that, oh, this is such a big deal, my attachment style, and I want to complicate it through story and through understanding it. And while that is super valid, can you let this practice be simple? Your attachment style signals there's not safety in the body. There are stories and events that contribute to that. Yes, and those stories and events are super valid and they had impact on you. And at the same time, can you see that what's happening on a physiological level is that your body feels unsafe? And so the first step is to give your body the safety that it is asking for. And here's the next part, is that when we are creating safety in ourselves that we may not have had or done before, it's probably going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to have a default reaction to the old way of being. And that's super normal. This work is building. So this slowing down and noticing your body is actually building capacity to sit in the discomfort. My anxious attachment style isn't poof, all gone, I'm cured and everything is okay. No, I sometimes take risks in my relationships that feel scary, and I can sit in the discomfort of it without it ruling me, to know that I'm safe, right? And then the next step is, in your relationships, can you choose something different? So you practice all of this, and then when something happens in your relationship, can you actually choose something different? When panic, anxiety hits and you feel like you either have to reach out and get reassurance or run away, can you be still instead? Can you be still? Can you take a breath? Can you stay present? And then can you find someone to talk to about it all? So that you have someone you can bounce these ideas off, so you can see your pattern and talk about it in real time to bring it out of you and into relationship. This is also really great to do, say you're noticing your attachment style coming up in the middle of a relationship, in the middle of a struggle, in the middle of a conversation. Can you actually say, oh, I'm noticing I want to run away right now, but I'm going to stay instead. I want to do something different here. Or you can say, oh, I'm noticing I really want to fix this situation right now. And it's really uncomfortable in my body, but I'm going to just stay here and be present with you instead. This then brings your relationship, the opportunities for your relationships to be in a deeper level of vulnerability and openness. And this is who I am. And this is what my default reaction is. But this is how I want to do it differently. This is how I want to show up differently today. So let your attachment style, the knowledge of your attachment style, be a map back to a deeper level of connection in your relationships. Be a map to return to, oh, I want to try something different here. That this doesn't define who I am. Instead, it shows me where I came from and what my body, my nervous system, the inner child inside of me needs so that I can feel safe, and that it's my job, your job to do that for yourself so you can start to feel more secure in love. And it starts to feel really good when you reflect back, oh, this is how I used to be, and now I'm starting to change that. My goodness, does it feel incredible, because suddenly life opens up. Fear starts to slowly dissipate. The fear is not as debilitating. Thank you so much for listening today. If you like this podcast, please share, subscribe, leave me a review. This helps get the podcast out to more people. And have yourself the most beautiful day.